Awesome. All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and get going then. So, as you saw on the invite, today we are opening up the opportunity for you to come with whatever questions you may have for us. And then we also, actually, we have some product updates that we'll probably share with you too. So we'll go through the quick few product updates. And while we're doing that, feel free to go ahead and pop your questions into the Q&A and we'll get those teed up to address whatever you may need.
Woohoo! I'm excited to hear people's questions. All right, so as Liz said, we do have a couple of product updates that we thought would be definitely worth going over with you all today. One of the first updates that we have is a new tag management tool, and I'm going to show you all how to use that. So when you log into ActivePipe, you will go and navigate to your settings right down here. And when you come in here, you have lots of different tabs. Not sure if you guys have ever checked this out, but definitely worth noting. This is where you can come and update any profile information, check out any of the integrations you have and the way that you're receiving notifications, that kind of thing. But today, we're going to show you a really cool new feature that we have, which is the tag management tool. So you'll see this tab right here. We have this section called tags. And what you can do is actually manage, delete, and add any new tags from right here. Now, it's definitely important to note that if you are using a CRM integration and all of your contacts are coming from that CRM, you can definitely still use this to see what tags are being pulled in, but you are going to want to delete and add any new tags in that CRM. So always manage your contacts in a CRM if you are integrated with ActivePipe. If you are not a CRM, you can come in here, you can delete tags, you can come down here and add maybe a new tag. And this is where you can see all of that. Do we have any questions on this section, Liz?
Not on this part.
Do you have anything to add?
No, but I think the next thing is importing tags.
Yes, I'm really excited to show everyone that because I think it's going to be a huge time saver for everyone that is used to manually uploading contacts. So I will get into that. So if you are used to manually uploading contacts into ActivePipe, again, good to note, if you are integrated with a CRM, you are not going to need to manually upload and you will not have this green button in the top right corner. Again, I forgot to say we are in the contact section of ActivePipe. And I'm going to show you a really cool new feature that we have to add tags when you're importing. So I have a little example right here. To import a list of contacts into ActivePipe, you need to have it in a CSV file. So I made a quick little example here. The big key difference that has changed from the way that you used to upload contacts into ActivePipe is this column right here. It used to be that you had to manually upload all of your contacts and kind of add the tag in by section. So for example, if you had a buyer's tag, you would upload all of your buyer's contacts. We have taken that step away of having different batch of tags, and you can now actually have multiple tags in a column and upload that way. So I'll show you how it works. The main things that I want to point out here is you just need a column to tag and categorize your contacts. And then the thing here is if you have multiple tags, you just need to separate them by comma. And with that, I'm going to show you how it's a little bit different. So first thing is downloading or saving this spreadsheet as a CSV. We will go and import our contacts right up here. You can either click this blue line up here and select the file from your computer, or you can drag and drop. We'll select import contacts, and it will take us to this matching verifying fields page. So the big key difference of the way that you used to import contacts is that we did not have a way to, I guess, categorize the tags that you were pulling in. Now you can come down here, Select the drop down and you'll find this section called Import as Tags. We will select that and you can continue. And now all of these tags are going to be associated with those contacts, and we'll finish importing. Boom. So now you have easily uploaded your contacts into ActivePipe and you have all the tags that you need for them.
Awesome. Yeah, big time saver there. If you were previously uploading custom fields and then filtering and then retagging, we have eliminated that, and now you can import those tags automatically.
Yeah, I was like, should I go into detail about all the other frustrating ways that you had to do it? Rather not. Just going to show the exciting new way.
Yeah. The last little feature update that we've made recently.
I'm gonna stop sharing so you can
Yep, perfect. The last little feature update we've made recently is how you can input buttons and link those buttons. Devin, can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, you are good.
Awesome. All right. So in the past, if you wanted to do something like link a button or link a piece of text and have it open up an email, you had to be pretty sleuthy and know that there was a specific code to do that. So it used to be, if you're familiar with entering in mail to : and then an email address, that was what you used to have to know how to do to be able to open up an email from a button. Now we have changed that process flow to make your life hopefully a little bit easier. And then for those of you who are also familiar with or who are on our enterprise product, who are familiar with our landing pages and surveys, this should also make your life a little bit easier to be able to include those landing pages and surveys. So I've drug a button into my email editor here. And now to start working on this link structure, I'm going to go into settings. Now, the first default option here is very similar to what you would do previously. So you could say read article, and then you would type in, or you would paste in your URL link, right? Now, that's pretty straightforward if you just want to link to a web address. But now we have a few other options in our link type drop down here. So if you want to open up a email address when someone, or open up a email addressed to you, the sending user, when a contact clicks on this button, you could change this button to be the link type email address, and then you would type in the email address that you want this email to go to. So typically this would be your own email, unless you want it to go to a colleague for whatever reason. You can even preset the email subject. So when they click on this button, it'll come up with a pre-populated email with subject, and you could even start your message. So you could do something like CMA request, and then you could start the email for your contact. So you could say, hi, yourself. I would like to request a CMA, and so on. So you can now preset text that is going to open up in an email to you. So you don't have to do that fancy little mail to anymore. Now, a couple other options here. We have system links. So these are going to be particularly related to what you can do normally with an ActivePipe email. The other ones are linking to social. So if you have your social links preset in your settings, we can automatically link to those. And then the last thing that I'll show you here is for those of you on our enterprise product, landing pages. So now you can easily add landing pages into your emails. So for example, if you know you want to include the data discovery survey, you can just choose data discovery, and you can even preview these landing pages now, which previously you couldn't do that directly from the editor. So now you'll be able to click through this and test out that landing page to make sure it's looking like you want it. Once you have chosen what you want your button to be linked to, all you have to do is click continue, and now you have adjusted that button. So we're just trying to streamline and make it more accessible for you to be able to have these special link types if you want to use them. I saw some chats coming in, so let me see.
Oh, I got on it. No worries there.
I know while I'm in the email editor, we had a question come in that was about Smart Match. And so while I'm in there, let's just go ahead and go over that. Now, Smart Match actually is one of our FAQs, so I think it's probably great to discuss for everyone. So if you've ever added a property section into your email, and you've decided that you want to use the property toggle, i.e. you want to automate what listings are coming into your email, you may have noticed when you go to set your filter criteria. So here, we're setting our filters for how properties are going to be pulled into this email. If you've ever noticed in the third tab, we have this option called Smart Match, and it's a toggle and it's on or off, right? If you've ever wondered what in the world is Smart Match, you are certainly not alone. And so Smart Match is defined by a couple different factors, but the ultimate result of what Smart Match will do is that it will prioritize what properties get pulled in to your list of properties based on your contact preferences. So for example, Smart Match can be defined based on implicit behavior. Implicit behavior would be something like, oh, Elizabeth always tends to be clicking on 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom houses in my emails. So ActivePipe is smart enough to be able to collect that data and say, Elizabeth is always looking at 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, or 2-bed, 2-bath houses. Okay. So let's show her with Smart Match turned on. Now we can prioritize what properties show up in what order so that per contact, they will get their most smartly matched properties at the top of that list. Now, the second way Smart Match can also be defined. So we talked about how it can be implicitly defined by behaviors, right? So previous interactions within an email. The second way is that it can be explicitly defined. So if you are using those data discovery surveys or using the buyer preference surveys on the enterprise level, that means that folks can explicitly say, I am a first-time home buyer, or I am an investor, and they will self-identify what they are looking for. And when that happens, those buyer preferences are added to their ActivePipe contact profile, and Smart Match will use those buyer preferences to cater properties to them. Outside of collecting that information through surveys, if you're manually managing your contacts, i.e. you're not using a CRM, you can also yourself set buyer preferences to a particular contact profile. So you can do that by finding the contact. So I'm going into my contacts list. Let's say Johnny here, I need to set his buyer preferences. I can come over to my ellipses button on the far right. And then there's a second tab here called buyer preferences. And here I can set, Johnny wants a house that's 3 bedrooms and his price, if you want to set a minimum, you certainly could, price maximum. And then you can also set city and so on. Now, again, this is only going to be editable if you are manually managing your contacts. If you're with a CRM, these buyer preferences, you won't be able to edit them like this. So Smart Match, to recap, is going to prioritize properties in your email if you turn it on. If you turn it on, it will prioritize those properties in that list based on both implicit and explicit buyer preferences. So defined by previous interactions or defined by what you have inputted into the contact profile or what they have expressed in a survey.
Liz, just gonna jump in here and say, I often tell my customers that there's really no harm in just always having that Smart Match feature on. If you want to go back to it, Liz, or I can share my screen,
Yep.
whatever you But really there's no harm in having that turned on, because you'll see in the basic tab that it's actually defaulted to order from listed newest to oldest. So if for whatever reason you don't have any buyer preferences in for that contact, it's just going to default to having it showing the listings from newest to oldest.
Mhm.
And
The other
then
thing,
another thing to note is you can actually go into the properties and see if any of those smart match features have matched.
it's so
The
yeah, so
contact section.
contact profile.
Yeah,
So from a contact profile, you can see um, smart matched properties to that contact. So when you're in the contact profile, the third tab is smart matches. And if they have any, they will appear here. Johnny doesn't have enough data yet to have a smart match, but this is where you will find them.
perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
I'm actually not seeing any other questions, so you just must be doing a phenomenal job explaining.
Let's see. There's another FAQ that I thought we should address. Yes. Smart Mat, or not Smart Match, but Smart Send, our other smart feature, Smart Send, and how you can actually see who is on your Smart Send disengaged list. So real quick, let me remind everyone what Smart Send is, what it looks like, and a question that we get asked frequently. So let me present here. Okay. All right, so to recap what Smart Send is, if you were on our last week's webinar, you've heard of this, and some of you have probably seen it in your account, but this may be new. So to recap what Smart Send is a tool that can be enabled on your account that is really designed to help boost your sending reputation. So your sending reputation is very important when it comes to are your emails going to end up in the recipient's inbox, or are they going to end up in the promotions tab or whatever other tab outside of inbox? Sending reputation is a key decision factor in that. So Smart Send is designed to help boost your sending reputation by really a pretty simple cyclical cycle. So what happens is basically if a contact does not open your emails 3 consecutive times, so they've received 3 emails from you and they don't open up any of them, they'll be moved to what's called a disengaged list, which is different than unsubscribed, very much different. So they're moved to this disengaged list for 60 days. Then after 60 days, they get your next email. If they open that email, they're good to go. They're back on the regular sending list. If they don't open that email, then they remain on the disengaged list for another 60 days. And that cycle continues. So 60-day rounds. Now, definitely this will help your open rate, which ultimately helps your sending reputation. But a lot of folks have asked, okay, well, how can I actually see who's on my disengaged list? And we now have a way to filter to show that. So let me go back. Oh goodness. Let me pull back up my window here. Jumping between PowerPoints and
Yeah,
it's always fun.
definitely worth noting while you're pulling that up is that Smart Send is a feature that you can request for us to turn on for you. Very few times is it automated, or I guess mandatory that we require you guys to turn it on. And if case, it's typically because we're just seeing your email getting flagged, and we want to do our best to help protect you and keep your email domain, reputable.
There we are. Okay, I got it. All right. Here we go. In the app, let me share my screen again. Thanks for bearing with me, everyone. We're all human, as a reminder. All right, so from your contacts list, you can filter And then you want to go to subscription status. And then in this dropdown, we have three options. We have subscribed, unsubscribed, and then we have disengaged. So if you want to see who is currently sitting on that disengaged list, this would be a way that you can filter down to those folks on your SmartSend disengaged list.
I am not seeing any questions on that. So again, excellent job, Miss Liz. Um, we did have a question about using the automation for filtering out listing prices that I did answer. But just to say, again, to reiterate what I typed out, you can change the order of the prices. So you can have it lowest to highest, highest to lowest, that kind of thing. And then if you do have buyer preferences where they have a price range, you can have that filtered to the contacts as well. But it is correct that there is not a way to filter out minimum as of right now.
Oh, we got a question about, is there a way to customize the listings in an email by area? And
Yeah.
yes, there is. So let me share my screen again and we will talk about this. Now, this is somewhat, you are going to be limited by the listings you have in ActivePipe, right? And so we're getting either your MLS feed or we're getting your like your exclusive listings through, if you've ever heard of something like Dash. So those are kind of our limitations, is that it would either need to be within your own feed or within your MLS, depending on what you have in your ActivePipe account. But within that, when you go to automate what properties are pulled into this email and you go to define properties, under advanced, you can restrict by geographic area. So for example, if you wanted to do by zip code, you say only properties in this zip code, then we can do that. You can also add multiple. So let's see if I can get a couple in here to show you. So it's a multi-select. So you could do a group of zip codes. You could do by only show, let's see, by one city, or again, multi-select with multiple cities, or you can, if you work across state lines and for you only want to show Vermont listings and not New Hampshire, then you can also sort by state. Some of you may also have a fourth option in this dropdown called region, and region is going to be by county. So if you only want to show Travis County, you can type in Travis and select that.
I think just to reiterate everything that you went over, Liz, Amy answering your question for having it sent to friends and family out of town. Like Liz mentioned, it's really going to depend on the property feed that you have pulling in. So if you have access to properties from another town, by all means, that makes sense. I also just wanted to clarify, in case this is where your question was headed, that in that case you could always tag and organize your contacts by the area that they live in, so that you can have certain areas like Liz just showed you going out to certain audiences in that area as well.
There's one other trick with that. If you want to send a like really localized email to a localized group, when you go to create a campaign, you can send to all, but then use, let's see, you would set your date and then if attribute. This is a little trick. So you would say, you know, send this out on Friday afternoon, let's say, but then specifically with if attribute, you can say if their city is equal to Fort Worth or whatever area you're operating off of, then you can set this campaign up that will only, even though you're swiping all contacts, you're actually limiting it down with this module of if attribute. So you have another way to send emails based on geographic area with this particular trigger. And so the last piece here is you would need an email. So look, essentially what you're saying here is take a look at everyone in my contact database, and then tomorrow afternoon, if that person in my database happens to be labeled with the city Fort Worth, then send them this email. Obviously, this relies on you actually having addresses in your database. So if you don't have addresses in your database, this is not going to work for you. But if you are keeping up with that, as we would recommend for situations like this, then you can make use of this little guy.
Awesome. That's a great tip. Someone asked about an automated, like if we had a help number and I wanted you to show, can you show the help button in the bottom right corner?
Yes. So we have 24/5 support through chat, and you can find our chat in the app on the right or the left hand if you're in the editor. And this is a real person. It's not a robot. You actually are talking to a real human, and you can ask them whatever you may need. We also will suggest like related articles based on what you type, so that it sometimes will take, you know, a minute, maybe 2 minutes to get connected with a person. In that minute or 2 minutes, you can see if any of those articles help you out on whatever you're looking for. So definitely make use of the help chat. Our support team is amazing. They are super smart. I chat with them all the time. And then the other option we have for helping is our support site. So I will put that into the chat now.
Yeah, everybody take this link right now and bookmark it. It will be your best friend.
Yes, support.activepipe.com. So on here, these are where those help articles are hosted. So for example, you could come in here and say, how do I import contacts using a CSV file? Boom, here we go. We have a whole article on it. A lot of these too will have both an article and a video. So if you prefer one or the other, most of them have both actually. So definitely check that out.
Awesome. We did have one question from Mary Ellen. Can we redo our auto download from close so that it can be more tailored or separated by categories? So to answer that, Mary Ellen, every time you make an update and close, it is sent back to ActivePipe to be updated. So it resyncs with ActivePipe. So if there was anything that you wanted to change, maybe you want to recategorize, retag things, all of that needs to be done in close, and then it will pull into ActivePipe and update accordingly.
Yep. So close, you have stages. I think it's stages, segments, and tags, and all of those in close will sync into ActivePipe as tags. So if you want to, you know, if your segment is hot buyers in close, you'll have that tag in ActivePipe that you could send, you know, say send this email to the tag hot buyers. So yeah, make those updates in close and they sync right on into ActivePipe.
Awesome.
I can think of one other FAQ that I tend to get from folks who are newer to the platform. So I can go ahead and show that. When you are creating an email, and for example, this really comes into play when you're doing like a just listed or a just sold, and it's usually you're looking at one property. You may want to include more than one photo. So if you drag in the feature option, this is what you start with, right? Your little text box at the bottom and your photo at the top. And then you would, you know, select your property, right? And it auto fills in, and that's beautiful and super quick, and we love that. But maybe we want 3 photos instead of just one. Good news is that you can do that, or you can change this photo. Looks like this particular property I chose is a poor example, so let me see if I can find a different one.
Yeah, I was like, oh, great.
No, all the ones I'm trying are not available. Okay, well, to change the main photo, all you have to do is select the blue camera icon here. And then when you do that, you're taken to this page where all the available photos are listed here. In this example that I have, I only have one photo, but if I had two photos, I'd have another little square here and I could click on that. And so I could change my primary photo that way. And then to add additional photos, there is an icon directly to the right of this icon right here that is white. And you can click on that and you'll be able to choose include 4, include 3, so on. And then you can set those as needed too. So if you want to change your primary image, you can. If you want to add additional photos, you can.
Since you're there, Liz, I'd say might be worth mentioning all the different property details you can add and remove.
Yes, good point. Okay, so by default, we have, looks like we have our title, we have an address, we have amenities, and then we have, this is a little bit of Australian language, but this is open houses. So if I wanted to add or subtract any of these details, first of all, you should all know if you click on these, you can change them. So if you just see a minor error, first of all, you may want to check it in your own feed and your MLS to make sure it's correct there. But you can also change these. So if you notice like, oh, this should actually be street, you can just directly type in. Now, if you want to completely remove a section or add something, you can also. So to do that, in the top section here in our green toolbar, we can go into settings. And then we will go into property details. And here's where we can add or subtract. So like I said, by default, we're getting headline, address, amenities, and open houses. But let's say maybe I don't want to show the upcoming open houses. I just use my little X and now it's going to go away. Then to add something, we'll use this little drop down. And then here's all the different options we could add in. So let's say description, plus sign, and then I can click continue. And we have updated what appears here. So those little inspections or open houses are now gone. And I have a little bit of a description here now as well.
That's awesome. Thanks, Liz.
No problem.
I am looking into another issue, or not an issue, but a question on the chat on the side. So
perfect. There's one other thing I can talk about for property details that comes in super handy and is super good to know about. So in my example here, this happens to be a good example for this. So you'll see here in this amenities section, I'm getting 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, but then I'm getting nothing for square foot. Now, again, this is a case where you would want to make sure that in your feed it's correct. If it should be correct, if it is included in your feed. But of course, you could always type this in if you happen to know it. But another good rule of thumb is that in settings, in property details, exactly where we were, below our dropdown, we have this little checkbox that says hide amenity icons when value is 0 or not set. So that means if we have any amenities that were unpopulated, like we were just looking at, if we check this box, it's just going to fall off the email. So that way you're not sending something that's blank, right? So if I click that, I typed in 2000, so that's going to remain there. But if it were still that 0 or that dash, then this chunk would just stop appearing in this property section.
how do we change footer info? Some agents have had issues with footer info changing email to email. So, oh, go ahead, Liz.
Sure. Yeah. So most of the time, your footer will be locked. So that means that your footers are part of the templates that we have built in your accounts, and they would be locked. Now, potentially, you might be noticing differences, and this is actually the primary spot where I do notice that people have differences, is if you are utilizing your own templates, right? They might have one footer, but then you might be getting shared emails from someone else from some other account that has a different footer because their account has a different footer. So that's the primary spot that I see that. And oftentimes they're locked in the shared emails as well. Now, if you are an admin and you want to universally update all of your footers on your account, you can just let us know. Just send a ticket into support@activepipe.com or CC your CSM on that request, and we can make a change to your templates if you're an admin who needs to universally update them.
Just to add a little bit more to that, Liz, I would say yes, correct. Footers are locked, but if there is information that is feeding wrong, like incorrectly into those placeholders, so maybe the name needs to be changed. I had one the other week that was like the name was William, but he went by Will. You can just go into settings, and more than likely you have an integration where we're pulling in that information. And so you can actually, I don't know, Liz, if you want to share your screen, I can do it too.
I don't have an integrated account, but I can show just our general.
Yeah, I don't have an integrated account either, but yeah, so this is the settings section where it says profile. Next to it, there will be a little toggle button that says, stop sync. And then you can come in here and manually change those details so that when, if you need a name change in the footer, this is how you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually keep, no need to turn that back on, just to be clear, because then it will update. So,
and if you're not integrated, then it's super easy. It looks like this. You just type in what you want instead and make sure you click save. So maybe you want to go full name with Robert, save changes, and now you've updated your name.
well, our team's going to lose it when they see it change to Robert.
I'll change it back for everyone.
Okay, so that answered that question. Yeah.
You've been managing the chat. I haven't checked in there.
Yeah, that is it. It looks like there's Emma. I'm noticing your chats. I'm glad that you're working with support. Just so you know, I did check and saw the listings pulling in on our side, so I'm not sure what's going on, but support will definitely be able to help you. So working with them.
There is one last question that I've gotten a few times recently that we could probably show for a wrap up here if there's nothing else. So let me walk through it. So the question of what if I want to promote a listing potentially that is off market or that is not yet in my MLS for whatever reason or not in my property feed? You can achieve it. So when you go to create an email, instead of utilizing a property module like we normally would, this only has the ability to pull in properties that are in your feed, right? So if it's not in your feed yet, this isn't going to work for us, but you can kind of chop together something manually if you would like. So for example, you could add a feature image and then a 1-column text block. And then you can even add additional images below that if you want to do a little 3. You could even go one step further and include a video walkthrough of this property as well. So here then in your text box, you would do, you would manually type in 2 beds, 3 baths. You would put in your address. So it's just a little bit old school, but you can still, get together the information about this property. And then for images, you would just upload images. So you would have to have those saved on your computer and then upload them from your computer into ActivePipe. So basically, if you just pop together an image panel and a text panel, do some good old copying and pasting, you can achieve an off-market listing in your ActivePipe email. All right. Did anything else come in while I was...
No, but you are crushing it, Liz. I think that people have no questions because they're just doing so well.
Or it's either we've been thorough or we've overwhelmed everyone. That's what I always say.
Oh, did you see that question?
Oh, are you able to make the images smaller?
Well,
let me show you. So if you're talking about like this looks pretty large, this actually will format to whatever image you upload. So for example, if you upload an image that's 200 by 600, this is going to condense down to 200 by 600 pixels, right? So this adjusts to what you actually upload. Let me see if we have any examples in here that are good to show that. Let's see. Maybe this little icon. So see, there we are. So it doesn't leave all that extra space. So if you upload a smaller image, it will condense down to that smaller image. As far as for these multiple images, in settings, you could adjust the padding, which in turn would kind of make the images smaller, I imagine here. So if we make our padding, our inset larger, then yeah, then our images get smaller. So yes, depending on which image panel you are pulling in. Okay.
Oh, that's a great question. We were asked how to load a GIF. GIF.
Yes, because my example was a GIF. Okay. Yeah, GIFs are super fun. I love adding GIFs to emails also because they're really like eye-catching. So if someone opens your email up and there's a GIF in it, they're much more likely to, stay a while and read the email because it's much more eye-catching. So as far as the process for uploading a GIF, it's actually the exact same to how you upload images. So when you add an image panel, I'll do this from scratch. So when you add an image panel to your email and you click the little blue camera icon, you would go up here to the top right-hand corner and click upload image. And then you would just choose the GIF instead of the JPEG or the PNG. You just choose the GIF and that's it. And then it imports as a GIF.
That's awesome. Since doing this, Liz, something that I think you and I both get a lot of times is 3D virtual tours. So oftentimes, people don't have a YouTube account, or those videos are hosted elsewhere, not on YouTube or Vimeo. So that's another great fix, is actually using the same feature she just showed you, uploading a screenshot of the video and then linking it out to that video with the hyperlink button.
Yeah, so I don't have a good example of that, but I can show you how to hyperlink. So yes, you could, if it's on some other video hosting site, you could just take a screenshot of that, upload the image in here. Once you upload that image, then as far as how you can link it is with this little button here. That's this little white chain link. So chain link equals hyperlink is what I always say. So chain link, and then you just type in where you want it to go when they click it.
And then also, sorry, so many random things are popping up, but related to Erica's question about making images smaller, it might be cool to show that little pencil edit button, how you can kind of change the sizing as well. So once you upload the image, this button will pop up. It's a little pencil next to the camera. It won't be there until you upload the image. Just be aware of that.
Yes, so you can, this is kind of if you wanted to crop it, basically. Yep. Oop, there we are. So do you have to have a GIF downloaded to add it like a photo? Yes, so you have to, whatever image, whether it be a GIF or PNG or JPEG, you do have to have it saved on your computer in order to upload it. Yes. All right. Okay, well, we have gotten through a lot of our FAQs today, I think. So thank you everyone who submitted questions. You gave us a lot of good content to go over.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Your questions help us get better for the next webinar. So thank you all for joining.
All right. Well, if you need a reminder on how to do anything we talked about today, of course, that's where our support team comes in. So remember support.activepipe.com or use that little help chat that we showed you. And we will see you next week for our next TMAP session. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks so much.